morning, sports fans from all around the globe, from Cape Cod to Cancun, from Tampa to Taipei, from Vegas to the Vatican. I'm your host, Jeff Dawson of East Coast Sports Investors Breakfast Bankroll. Today, myself and my co host, Scott E. Webb, will look to recap yesterday's favorites, and more favorites in the MLB. If you were a chalk player, you are living large right now. Talk about the demise of the Red Sox and the changing of the guard in the NL East and much, much more. But without further ado, the man with the plan from the Palm Tree State himself, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty, my brother, what is up?
Morning, Jeff. How are you today?
You know, I like this 11 a.m. spot. I think in the fall it will be very, very important to a lot of followers and listeners as they are glued into game day on ESPN. I call that carrot specials. As I watch the numbers here from around the globe here, 50 plus sports books, and every time Curb Street or the Bear or someone gives out a game, the numbers just move. You talk about steam, I'd make a locomotive like go from here to California in 5 seconds, just the way these numbers shift just from that show.
Well, I can understand that. However, I don't think those guys have made anybody any money, to be honest. I think they probably cost them a lot more money. So I think that the better way to approach that is if you're going to gamble on these games, you need to talk to the guys or listen to the guys that at least have a little bit more insight than the entertainment world, so to speak.
And we always talk about that here. We are the educators, not the entertainers. Though sometimes, we might crack a joke or two and, create a few smiles. Have a couple things I want to just get off my chest to start the show. What I watched yesterday, and it's getting a little sad at this point. The Red Sox 2-0 lead, top five, and then it was just like an explosion, and the Jays put up a 9 spot. It took the Red Sox 18 minutes from the second to the third out in that fifth inning. And I know in baseball it's sometimes like quicksand, bloop single, flare to left, and the floodgates open. But they were cruising. They were cruising. And then it's just ever since the trade deadline. And I talk about the perfect storm. Your Rays were sitting there. You catch a hot offense with the Detroit. Now you limp in to Toronto, just chomping at the bit. The Yankees, the same way. They're just ready and roaring. Sox made some moves. They send Perez to the bullpen. Houck's starting one of the two game doubleheaders today. My assumption is Richards will be the next man to go into the bullpen with Sale coming back potentially on Thursday. Thoughts on the Sox? I mean, what the hell is going on?
Well, I think they had a great season, and they were one of my best picks for the season wins totals. I don't think anybody was taking them serious, and the numbers weren't real good. So I liked them. I liked them a lot, and it's just like anything else with these things. When teams excel beyond what they're supposed to, a year or so ahead of what they're supposed to be, there's a little disappointment into where they finish and how they end, and I think if you look back and you just think to yourself, if our rotation has guys in it like Pivetta and Richards and Perez, and that's the 3 guys we're really relying on to a certain degree, I don't think you're going to really sit here and go, we don't match up. You're just going to say it, and now you're getting to a point where I think you're going to see some of the cream of the crop pitchers step up here. And what you're also seeing is the ones that kind of skated through the first part of the season. And I wouldn't say skated through, that's not really a right term, but they had good success. But the games didn't mean as much. Now the games mean everything. So every single win matters, every single loss matters. And I think that your Red Sox there are in a spot where they just don't have the guys with the pedigree that's been there before to win the games they got to win. And I know Houck is really good, and I hope he does really really well, because the Red Sox need another good guy to pitch, and but he doesn't have the pedigree, and I shouldn't say pedigree. He doesn't have the history of being in these games. I mean, he's a rookie, so anything can happen. That could be a good thing too. But if Sale were to come back and be the dominant Sale, which I don't expect that, but if he does, then you got something there. But until then, I think that they're living on borrowed time, and it's a matter of how much time that they can actually squeak out, because I mean, everybody's talking about the Yankees. Nobody is talking about the Blue Jays. Nobody. And I'm not going to be one of here sit here and say that the Blue Jays aren't out of this, because Blue Jays are one game behind the Yankees. And I think the Blue Jays have just as much a chance to beat the Yankees and move ahead of the Yankees as they do to stay behind them. So um, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I think today's a pretty big day for the Blue Jays, in a sense that they're going to be favored in both games. They got better pitching matchups in both games, and their offense is clicking right now, and Boston's isn't. So if the Blue Jays were able to take both games today, Jeff, um, I think that's going to set the direction and the course for the rest of the fall.
I agree 100%. And I mean, a lot of people say in smoke and mirrors. I like to say they're playing above their ski tips. When you lead the majors with 33 come from behind wins, their front end was pitching real well. We talk about Spider Tack in June 8th. That's when it really started to, uh,
Level.
with Perez, with Richards, and the back end has been stellar. But offensively, when these guys were up in those spots, whether it was Verdugo, whether it was JD Martinez, Bogarts, Devers, they were getting the clutch hits. They're not getting them now. And it's so easy to free roll when there's no pressure on you. Everything is clicking. When you start to tighten up, and especially in baseball, we talk about it. I just made an error, and what happens? The ball comes to me the next time again. The pitchers, 0-2, hang a slider, trying to go away, too much on the plate, home run. Just stuff like that. And I agree with you with Sale. Not that we're rushing him back, but honestly, I think it would have been much safer and easier to say, "Hey, Chris, we're all set this year. I want to make sure you're ready for spring training next year and the full 2022 season." But that's where we live today, and they're going to give it a shot and see what happens. And I'm gonna segue here. Since DeGrom and the setback, the Mets have all of a sudden crept back. And as of last night, the Phillies are now in first place. You can get the Mets right now to win the division at plus 110, with the Braves or the Phillies right now plus 210. And now the talks of Harper and National League MVP. Talks about the Phillies and the NL East.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting division, and we've said this, or at least I've said this a lot. Everybody picks on that division because they don't really have anybody that's breaking away. They've got three teams that are over 500, but just barely. And what are they going to do, and how are they going to be, and what are they? Well, um, these teams have just been beating each other up all season. I mean, you got the Mets, the Phillies, the Nationals, and the Marlins aren't an easy out.
No.
So they've got all these teams, and they got to play each one of them 19 times. So it's gonna be a little bit like that. And what I think is kind of interesting here is that I think that the Mets could have made some moves here at the trade deadline that separated them from the rest of the teams. They could have, if they would have brought in some more pitching, they could have done that. But they didn't. So they bring in Javier Baez. Okay, well, that's just a guy that puts seats in the stands at this point. In my opinion, I think he's a good player, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me and tell me how bad of a take this is, but I don't think he's a top 10 shortstop. I don't think he's one of these guys that's going to, and I get it that when Lindor comes back, he's going to play second base, and that doesn't make him a top 10 second baseman either. So I look at it from a perspective that, what value do you have to the wins of your team? And he's not that impactful of a guy. He's just not. He strikes out too much. He chases too many bad pitches. He makes base running mistakes. Yes, he's a highlight reel, but he doesn't do the things that make your team better. He does things that make your team worse. And they need pitching because they don't have any more. They've got a kid named Miguel pitching today, and over the last, say, 30 days, he's the best pitcher they got. And if you would have said that at the beginning of the season, people would have been going, who in the hell are you? And who is Miguel, for God's sakes? That's exactly what they would have done. And now all of a sudden, here they are. He's the best pitcher they got. Now, I get it. Philadelphia's not throwing a great pitcher today either when Ranger Suarez. But, it's one of those scenarios that it's interesting how baseball plays out. And I was hoping this stuff would happen, and it is. So, the teams are catching up. The Reds are starting to they're knocking on the door of the Padres. The Padres can't seem to win. They can't even beat Arizona. They get a 5-0 lead yesterday, Jeff, and lose the game to the worst team in baseball. So, anything can happen in these games, and they always do. And it's just a matter now of what pitching staffs are going to get hot and what batters are going to start to really keep carrying the teams. And then you can really look at what's going to happen in the fall. But just looking at the projected numbers, they're still the same. They still have the Mets to win. They still have the Red Sox in the playoffs and that kind of stuff. But I'm not so sure about all of that stuff right now.
I agree. Last night, if you were a chalk player, God bless you. Favorites 12-3, over 7-1. Only two big dogs cash. Angels plus 192 over the Dodgers, and the Twins plus 178 as they come back and they beat the Astros. It's funny. I was talking to someone on Tuesday, and I said, you talked about the Diamondbacks, and they sneakily kind of tweaked their lineup, and we had a team total for them the other day, and it didn't come in, and now they're the next coming of Babe Ruth all of a sudden the last 3 days. And actually the Diamondbacks yesterday would be the third dog. They came flying in. Let me see where they ended up yesterday. D-backs. Where are you, D-backs? They came flying in at plus 191, so that was the third dog right there. So interesting there. And again, our kryptonite all year, the Twins, and now all of a sudden they know how to win. So it's comical, like you said. It's baseball. We have two games that I had checked the box today, and one of them was the Mets and the Phillies, Miguel versus Suarez. Pinnacle had the Mets open up minus 112. That was their overnight number. The Sharps and everyone are leaning towards the Philly and Suarez there. And the other one was just some big steam. Detroit and Cleveland. The overnight number, Cleveland minus 125. Alexander versus Morgan. I kiddingly talked to a few people, and actually you were one of them. I thought that was Doyle Alexander, but it's not. And they got pushed to 150. But what I want to do is I'm going to do what we did yesterday. It was a big hit. We got a lot of people talking about it. I'm going to bring over the Wager Talk board, and we're going to go over it. We can talk on our side, first half money line, team totals, first half team totals, whatever we need, we can talk about. So let me pull that up right now and see how you're seeing the board today, and we can go from there. All right, sir. Full slate of baseball. Like I said, we only had two that from the overnight to this morning that check some up boxes there. Red Sox doubleheader that we talked about. Some good matchups. Again, I really think the books have done a great job, I should say, on really inflating a lot of these lineups, these spreads, to make it almost impossible to get in there. Listen, we're a contrarian team. We love to fade the public. Fridays has always been a good fade the public day because it's payday. So a lot of the degens run to the window and they just run to the favorites and the overs. So that helps the dog player. Well, if you were playing dogs yesterday, even though, Scotty, you would have got 3 games almost at plus 200, so it wouldn't have been as bad as it actually looks with a 12-3 record when you're actually getting about 6 units for those 3 dogs. But the board's yours. See what you see, your numbers, the Webby report. Take it away.
Yeah, I think one of the things you got to remember, and we talk about it some, and you hear me say it a lot, is if you are a consistent player that plays these minus 200 numbers, you have to win at 80%. I mean, that's the number you have to win, and then you break even. So you have to win just a little bit better than that to make your money. So yesterday, almost all of those games were minus 200, and today you got them minus 150 or higher, except for a couple of games. So that prices you out of a lot of these games, unless you play that way. But you've got to understand that because there's a money line, we always talk about that 53% win number as a magical number. It's magical because that's minus 110. So if it's minus 110 and you win 53% of the time, you're making money. It just depends on how much money you wagered to know how much money you made. So if you're playing minus 200, though, that's a way different animal, and that's a 80% win clip you got to make, and just to get your money back or to break even. So yesterday, if you're looking at a 12 out of 15, that's 80%. So you probably broke even if you played every single one of those games. And think about that, though. If you're a player and you win 12 out of 15 games and break even, man, that would drive me insane. I mean, if you won 12 games out of 15 bets, you would sit there and go, man, let's go, we're going to dinner tonight, or whatever it is you're doing. Going to the bar, going wherever you want to go. So I just look at that as a little different type of an animal. And then one other point I wanted to try to throw out there today, and I think we don't talk about it enough. And so, for example, if you lose a game that you played yesterday, and it doesn't matter whichever one you played, don't be afraid to go back in there today. Just don't do it because these are series games. They don't play a new opponent. And because they're a series game, typically a lot of times what you analyzed yesterday carries forward into today. And just because it didn't win yesterday doesn't mean it's not going to today. So just don't be afraid to do that. And I see people do that all the time. I see people go and say, oh, the damn Cardinals, they cost me money yesterday. I can't bet on them today. Okay, well, today's the day. Bet on them again. So the point I was trying to get to, though, is that you can find a lot of winners in a lot of different ways just by analyzing your bets. And looking at today's board, Jeff, it's a landmine out there of crazy different things. So if you wanted to switch every one of these things and you wanted to go to the first 5 innings and you wanted to go to the spread totals on the first 5 innings, look at the numbers. They are minus 150. They are minus one. I don't know. They're crazy numbers in the first 5 innings on some of these numbers. Like the Oakland A's. I like the Oakland A's today. I like them a lot. but I can't play him at -1, minus a half a run in the first, minus a half a run, -150. I can't play him at -200. So you know what I did? I switched him around and I played him at team total over 4.5, -135. So that's what I did.
And let me just tell you, it's so funny because you just talked about if you lose, come back. Okay, we win. We were 1-1 again yesterday. We had the Braves first five that on my timeline on Twitter. If you guys are following me at EC Sports Invest, go look at my timeline and my rants. They had 2 innings where they gave up 1 run and 1 run on walk, pass ball, ground out, pass ball. 2 innings. So they went into the inning down 3-2, bottom of the fifth, 2 outs, get a catcher's interference to keep their inning going, and then they ended up winning 5-3. But our second game was Oakland A's team total. Over 4.5 yesterday. So you talk about how can we get into certain games. They got steamed all the way up to 300. They were showing us that the other side was only going to score 1 run. The under-over stayed at 8. So I'm saying, okay, 5, 6, can they get to 7? Oakland was 1 hit by Foltzy, which is just, we talk how bad Foltzy is. And then long story short, it goes to extras, and we get the 3-run walk-off, and it lands on 4. We didn't get the grand slam, to have it land on 5. So it's kind of nice to hear you say, well, we're going with the Oakland team total today.
Well, it's one of those things where you got to know kind of how it matches up, right? And in this particular case, I don't know if anybody knows who this kid is who's pitching for Texas or not. His name is Drew Anderson. Drew Anderson is a relief pitcher. He's kind of a middle relief pitcher. He's got some terrible numbers. His Sierra number is 605, xFIP's 538. He's never started a game before. He's only made 2 appearances. I think he's only thrown 5 innings. So the issue though is then what does he throw? Well, he's got a plus slider and a plus changeup. Okay, well that's pretty good. He's got an even fastball, but that's just because he hasn't pitched enough, and he's got a negative curveball already. So then you flip it over and you go, okay, so who hits sliders, and who can kind of dominate? Well, Oakland is number 6 in baseball against the slider, and if that's the only pitch this kid's got, then that's kind of a problem. But we did say he had what was the other pitch? It was a changeup. So then you go back over and you look at it again, and you look at the changeups, and you go, where's Oakland rank on changeups? Well, Oakland is in the top 10 on changeups. So the pitch that this guy's going to throw to get him out doesn't match with what the Oakland A's can do. And Oakland coming off a game yesterday where they didn't get many hits, I like the idea that this is going to be a pretty good matchup. And I think that they're going to get some points, or we're going to get to a point where they can score a lot of runs, because I don't think this guy's going to go in there and keep the hits from happening. His average against is 333. I mean, 1 out of 3 guys goes up there and gets a base hit, but he hasn't pitched that much. He's not going to pitch that much today. Maybe he'll go 2 innings, maybe he'll go 3 innings. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm all good with that. Throw in more of the Texas Ranger bullpen guys. Just they're terrible. So throw them in there. That just gives me more and more and more opportunity to score runs. So I like it. So I played that game at the -135 number, and boy, that's you got to really work now, Jeff. This board is hard. So the other ones that I kind of looked at, and it's the same principle. I talked about the Yankee game yesterday with Seattle, and I thought that the Yankees were going to be pretty good in the first 5 innings. All they had to do was win 1-0, and they didn't score in the first 5 innings, so they lost that game. But in the first 5 innings, they won the game. But looking back at it, and then looking at what they are the number 30 team in baseball, and there's only 30 teams, so that's not very good if you're number 30 at hitting changeups. Well, what does Flexen throw? He's not a flamethrower. He throws changeups. So I like this game to go under 10. So if the Yankees can't hit changeups and you got a total of 10 on the board, sign me up for under. And I think Heaney will pitch a lot better today. He's had very poor success against Seattle this year. I mean, he's an angel, so they've already faced him a couple times, and he hasn't done well. But I think he'll do a lot better today because he bounces back, or most of these pitchers bounce back from poor performances, and he had a terrible one. So I kind of like that game to go under the number. And then the only other game, Jeff, that I had really looked at was San Francisco and Milwaukee. That's another crazy game where they have Sanchez pitching for San Francisco today. And if anybody remembers who Sanchez is, it's Aaron Sanchez, and he was a kid that pitched for Toronto when he came up, and he was the thing on sliced bread. He was going to be something else, and he got hurt, and then he couldn't pitch anymore. And then he's now a reclamation project over in San Francisco, and he started this season as a starter, and he did pretty well. His game score average is 53. Then he got hurt again, and he's now pitched twice out of the bullpen, and now he's going to start this game. So I expect him to pitch at least average or decent, but I expect Woodruff to be good. Woodruff has been a dominant pitcher all season, and I still think you can play this game under and be happy with that. I played it under the 8.5. I think it was minus 115, and I was hoping that wouldn't get to 8 because I didn't want to push on the 8 because I wanted to win if it got to 5-3 or something like that. So I kind of like those games. And the only other one I looked at it was the Kansas City Royals St. Louis game. Same kind of idea. Was going to play that game under. Both offenses are terrible, but I was going to play it under only in their first 5 innings. And then I looked at the number and it was 4.5, and I'm like, I don't really want to play this game under. I just skip it. So that's a good strong lean that I had in that game.
No, as you said, they're just. I think what they're really doing to the sharper guys and the people that are looking to peel that layer. I'm going 6, 7, 8 different layers now, trying to dig in. We're still plus 15 games. Our last 49 games, over 500. We have not had a lot of success on team totals. I liked Oakland yesterday. You make a good point. Well, if you liked them yesterday, you should like them today. So I'll take a look at that ourselves. The board itself, from first fives to first 5 totals, team totals, they're just doing wonders. So I'm going to go to the first 5 right now. Okay. And we talked about it. I'm going to go to the spreads. And Vegas does us a favor because they price us out of some games, and some of those games that they price us out don't come in. So I tip my hat and say thank you. Because what we're trying to do is trying to take the edge in starting pitching for the first 5 times. And I think when you own that matchup, and again, you can get to the top of the lineup for the 3rd time, get some guys on base, a walk, base hits, errors, whatever. But the point is to get to the top of the lineup for the 3rd time, and it's in the 5th inning. You're getting a little tired. You see a lot of runs scored in that 5th inning, bottom 4, 4th, and 5th innings. So I'm looking at the numbers here, and they price us out of the Atlanta game. They price us out of the San Diego game. They price us out of the Oakland game. They obviously price us out of the Dodger game. So where can you go? You talked about Suarez and McGill. Well, if I was to play either one of those in the first 5, I would just play the money line. I don't need to mess around with the spread there. Woodruff is interesting. Opened up -0.5, -130, already up to 145. So you're really teetering on that number right there. Gutierrez versus Keller. Not a Gutierrez friend, but Cincinnati's offense is really cranking. I like the pitching edge with Morton versus Gray. Opened at 165. It's down to 160 again. Priced out. Colorado's rolling right now. Offensively, they're at home. The question comes, which we've talked about all week. Which Gomber are you going to get? Are you going to get the good Gomber, or are you going to get Gombered? And so that's a thanks, but no thanks. San Diego and Darvish priced out. You talked about flexing. You talked about the Yanks and their struggles. I kind of think, and I know it's the first game of the day on Saturdays, usually don't bode well, but Haney got his sea legs. He got banged around. Seattle has seen him a ton. So again, he opened up minus 135. It's down to 125 for a reason. I think you'd be dancing with the devil, but I think price wise and value wise, it would be worth the swing. I don't think we're heading that way. Irvin 155, too much for us. Your Rays minus 145. Again, Baltimore won the first 5 yesterday, and then your Rays just opened up a can of whoop. I'm not going against Detroit. They're playing well. The Sox in a doubleheader. I've been staying away from doubleheaders. I just don't even want to bother with those. Meaning, it used to be this. Watch the first game. Whoever loses the first game, go and play him back in the second game, and you're going to win about 60% of the times there. So technically, as you said, in this angle and this approach, there's really not a lot to look at. I can tell you a value play, and it's value's only value if you cash. Rondron has kind of come back to earth just a little. Not taking anything away with them. White Sox had a great win yesterday in extras. The Alzolea you talked about 6 weeks ago. Great start. Came back to earth. Which Alzolea are you going to see? I like the little price tag and value front 5 there. But again, am I going to play it? We don't know yet. It's, we're coming up on 11:45-ish. So, again, now I got to go to the third and fourth layers. So here we go, Scotty. You go back to the full games, okay? And now you look at team totals, and you had already gone over those. Again, a million ways to skin this cat. Reds 5.5 over. They're saying they're going to get a touchdown.
Hey, look at the Angels. Are they still 2.5 as a total run line or total team total?
2.5 juiced over 145.
Yeah, are they going to score 3 runs? Man, come on.
And this is the amazing part where people, the public, the degens, the lazy people, they just look at the opening numbers and this is all that they think they can play. There are so many ways to get in here and just look for some edges. Here again, they got the White Sox 5.5 under 133, and they got the Cubs 3.5 under 125. So technically, they're telling you that they think the White Sox are going to win by 2 or more. They give you signs here. You just got to clean your glasses and look for them.
So keeping that theory in mind, look at the Dodgers and look at the Angels again, and tell me what you think the score is going to be.
They're telling you easily that it's going to be Dodgers 5, and they're telling you Angels get to 2. Most likely get to 3. So there's your 8.
So if they get to 2, right? So if they get to 2 and the Dodgers get to 5, what if you played the Dodgers on the alternate run line and you take them minus 2.5? You can get that number at plus 115, Jeff.
No,
and I think that's a reasonable bet.
I get it. I do. And don't forget, again, we talked about the Dodgers coming off the losses. On Monday, shut out. Monday or Tuesday, they were shut out. And then they come back and they lay a whooping. I think they had 5 runs by the second inning. Mookie had the 2 homers.
I think Trey Turner's going to play today for the first time.
And he was activated. And again, I'm not a big Barrier fan. Urias has been nice to us. Again, you got to dig into the alternate lines. But also, here's the hardest part is some of the clients and a lot of people, depending on what they're using for books, some of them don't have the alternate lines. You got the square book. So it's a lose-lose proposition. I'll give out the Dodgers minus 2 and a hook today, plus 115. And it wins. And, so on Twitter, we win. And then you get the 28, DMs, emails. Hey, Jeff, I couldn't get it. Hey, Jeff, I couldn't get it. So it's almost like, it's a lose-lose proposition.
Yeah, it's just they're just thoughts in a lot of ways, and what we're trying to do too is look for what you have available, and the one thing you didn't mention, and the one thing I didn't mention is we didn't say go take Morton and Woodruff and put them in a 2-game parlay and get your minus 200s down to minus 140s or minus 130s. We didn't do that. And I won't do that. I don't think that those are smart plays. I don't think that that's the way you should be doing these things. If you make a parlay bet, by God, you ought to be making money in terms of making extra money as opposed to having to pay any kind of favorite price. So I just look at it that way. And some of these people just love parlays. And you know what? So be it. I mean, if you want to sprinkle a little bit of money on a parlay, that's okay. And in terms that I always try to tell people when I'm talked about with bankroll management, the first thing I always try to find out is, are you trying to be in the game till the end? Can you reload your account? Or are you just trying to have a good time? Man, if you're trying to have a good time, I don't care what you bet. Parlays are fun because if you hit one, holy shit, you're going to be jumping all over the place. But guys like you, guys like me, we don't play that stuff. That's because we got to be here today. We got to be here tomorrow. We got to be here the next day. We got to be here for the next sports season. We got to be here for football. We got to be here for college football. We got to be ready for basketball. Well, you do. I can't do basketball. So as we go, it's just one of those kind of things that separates sort of where things are. And, I don't want to be one of those guys that tells people they can't have fun, because if you're not having fun while you're doing this, this is what it's about. It's the challenge to beat the book. It's the challenge to beat all your other sports bettors out there that are moving the numbers, and then have fun while you do it. And if you're not doing that or having fun, you need to reevaluate what you're doing.
100%. And I just hope we have opened up some eyes, especially this week. We're starting to basically, in a nutshell, as I like to say, open up the playbook. And there's certain times of the season that you have to do this. When you go back to the start of baseball, it is what it is. And it's like spring training is over. And even though it's the regular season, you got to kind of keep the training wheels on because there's just so many variables. There's so many unknowns. So you try to get through April, try to get to May and Memorial Day, and then you can shake it up. Okay, what's working from Memorial Day till the 4th of July? Do we have to go to the first fives? Do we have to go to team totals? What is working? And that's the key to success in this business. Okay, the definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. Well, if you wake up every day and you're doing the same thing every day and it's not working, shame on you. Shame on you. Okay, I always say this is a 7-course meal. You always got to add a little more salt. Like Emerald used to say, sometimes you got to step back and give them a bam, and you got to wake them up, shake that thing up, see what's working. And people just are lazy. They're wired to pay the man. You get to Sunday, you're up 3 units, it's a free swing. I'm going for the sedan, okay? And then they end up the week even. Well, that's okay. I didn't have to pay the man. Well, what happens the following week when they go in Sunday down 5 units? Well, I got to get the 5 units back because I don't want to pay the man. Well, at the end of Sunday, now they're down 10, 11, 12 units, and you use the E word and it's perfect because I bang on someone's head 24/7 about this. At the end of the day, if you look yourself straight in the mirror, it's entertainment. That's what it is. Hey, if I lose 100, 150, 200 bucks this week, okay, it's entertainment. It's entertainment. When we're here doing this as a service, as a business, trying to grind out profit, trying to turn the page at the end of the week, I don't care. We're up 0.37 units right now this week. We're 5-4. Okay, so if I shoot out 5 games today and we go 0-5, we're turning a grind week into, oh my God, what are we going to do on Sunday? No, I'll try to sift through the madness with 1 or 2 games today. Hope to go 2-0, get us up 2.37 or maybe 2.5. Put zero point 0.5 on the action parlay, collect our 2 units, and move on. It's simple.
Yeah, it's if you take an approach to it like that, and you take an approach to it where you're managing not only your emotions, but you're managing the money that's tied to your emotions. I think you'll do a lot better job of enjoying what you're doing, and you'll take advice a little bit better. So sometimes these guys just go, I don't care what you say. We're going to do this and we're going to do this. And I win all the time and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Whatever, man. I mean, we've seen all that, right? I mean, there's a reason why there's, I don't know, if you go online and you start looking, there's probably 70,000 places that will sell you picks. I'm being serious, like 70,000. And it's just because the guy went into the sports book and then he had a great day. He follows it up and has a great week. And now he's, oh my God, I got some money. I'm going to start selling these plays. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later, you go, where in the hell's this guy at? He ain't there no more. And that's because that if you really want, when you guys are on Twitter or whoever, wherever you're doing this stuff, it doesn't matter whether it's Instagram, Twitter, who cares. And you've got these people that are telling you they're experts and that kind of stuff. You really want to know how to know? If you really want to know how to know, all you got to do is you can see who they follow. And if they don't follow people you know and have heard of and are trusted in the industry, longtime people in the industry, then they're all full of shit. Because the truth is, it's a community of people that make this thing work to the degree in which you have the people that win. And we're all connected. We all have the conversations. We all talk about sports books, and we all talk about what did you see with this line, and why did this happen this way? And you talk about it. And then all of a sudden you become buddies and pals and you work together on different things. So the thoughts formulate and go, as opposed to some of these other guys that are data miners. Not that I'm not, I mean, I do all my data stuff, but the difference though is those guys are like scientists. They're going to come up with a number and they're going to go, holy shit, minus 250, this is going to win. So they start telling you to bet minus 250 on stuff. And then all of a sudden it loses, and then they go, holy crap, we ain't got no money. And then that's because they don't know that there's more to it than just trying to pick winners and just trying to handicap teams. You have a whole market influx that you have to deal with, and you have to deal with the idea of what it is to be on a betting board. You know what I mean? Like there's an atmosphere to it, an arena to it, and people don't get all of that.
100% correct. And it's kind of comical, and I'm glad you brought it up. The followers, I've been on Twitter since 2011/12. We've been public since January 1st, 2015. And when the newbie comes on, I get 25 to 50 of them a week. I am not lying. Following us. I don't follow back. I don't need to, and I don't want to, because I don't really care what the guy that's just coming on, like you said, hey, I just went 9-1, therefore I'm a professional, I'm an expert, therefore I can sell my picks. And I think it's more, again, they're trying to follow the blueprint. What's this guy doing? What do I need to do? So, name, face, brand recognition hasn't changed since 2011-12. I'm still the same person. I still show this ugly mug every day of the week that I can. I still put out information every day. And maybe I need to loosen up on Twitter. I don't obviously give out a lot of freebies. I've had very bad success with that. I can give you a million war stories. If I got one dime for everyone that said they'd pay me after a freebie winner, I'd be at the presidential suite at the Bellagio. I mean, it just doesn't matter. It's like the hamburger. Give me a hamburger today, I'll pay you on Tuesday effect. And but information, content is king, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to educate. The last couple of days we've pulled out Wager Talk. Hats off to Wager Talk. This is phenomenal. The information that they're giving you, not just the game, first half, team totals, money lines, spreads, totals, everything is right there for you. You just got to go do the work. Just do the work. And that's where the L word comes in. And it's not for loss, it's for laziness. But that's for another time. Amazing show. Closing thoughts, Mr. Webb.
I'm excited for baseball. I'm excited because the teams have found a way to make races out of this, and I'm hopeful that it runs all the way down into September, so that we have a great playoffs and World Series to baseball. I'm also excited for football, and I think that what you and I are doing right now and how we've been trying to develop this, I think that we're going to be able to have some friends and followers and be able to provide a pretty good service here.
100%, and we're just warming up. We're cooking with Crisco, and soon we'll be cooking with full grease. So make sure you wear your apron and get prepared for that as we get closer to football, college, NFL. But you still have baseball. We have baseball all the way through October, and we will be following and covering all of those. So for myself and Scott, if you are wagering today, please wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number. There's a lot of people out here that can help you. We're wishing you all a blessed day today. Good luck with your wagers. Myself and Scott most likely will be off tomorrow because of myself. I will be traveling. If we can sneak a show in and give you guys some quick information, we will. Otherwise, we will definitely catch you back here Monday and Tuesday. So everyone, best of day. Remember, it's Saturday. One more day till the end of the week. Stay in your lane. Stay focused. Don't go over your ski tips like the Red Sox have lately. So good luck to all.